Alrighty, so Jason, you've went ahead and you paste waxed it and buffed it out. Looks very nice, feels pretty nice. And the last step that we need to do is we need to put the mirror into this area here. And you remember how when we put the trim pieces on, how we used that little spacer? It was about 1/8 of an inch. And our mirrors are 1/8 of an inch as well. And that's why we see this little gap back in here. So in order to put our mirror in, we're going to take the back piece out. We're going to carefully set the mirror in, then we're going to put the back piece back on. So, in order to do this, we put down a nice clean piece of cloth on here because we don't want to, mar the finish or anything like that. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go ahead and we're going to take out all of these screws in here, all right? And we're going to take this piece, I'm going to put it BR right here. What do you think that's going to stand for? Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Bottom right. That way I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it over here. In case somebody picks it up and moves it, I know that all of our screws lined up with this right here, okay? Does that make sense? Why don't you go ahead and start taking a few screws out. Good. Alright, so we're going to have him take out all the screws on this here, and what we'll do is the next time that we cut into the video, hopefully we'll have the piece of mirrored glass over here, and we'll show you a little bit about how that all sets in. So, catch you in a few. Alright, so he's gotten all of his screws here out, and we had to give it a little bit of a pry in a few areas. To get it off, we had a little bit of something holding it in. So what we'll do is we'll take this, and we're going to remove this out. We'll take a look at the bottom of this. And doesn't look too bad. Sometimes what I like to do is on these little areas right here, just give it a little bit of a touch up, clean it off a little bit. All right, we'll flip this back over. And if we take a look at the bottom here, we're going to fix anything that might have happened. Got a little bit of glue. Got a couple of spots where the brads had poked through. And that's pretty common. It's pretty common for us to do. So we're going to go over how to deal with that right now. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to use these cutting dikes right here. And what we'll do is we're going to give it a small little pry, and we're going to cut the little brads that come through as close as possible. Now, did you see how that thing came up and hit me right here? So it's very important that we wear safety glasses when we do this too, because they could have easily been my eye. Now this is a perfect nail set to use to set a nice small nail in. But for these right here, I'm going to have to tell you to go grab a slightly larger one. I'll give this one here a real quick try, but I think it might be a little bit too small. It worked a little bit. So what we just did is we set it just a little bit below the surface right here. We're never going to see it, so it doesn't need to be fancy or anything like that. We just lightly set it. Now, in here, on this inside edge right here, you see how we are hitting it a little bit right here? Yeah. That's another spot where we're going to have to take this, and we're actually going to kind of drive it on a little bit of an angle. Okay. Now we got that out of the way. Test that with a flat blade. I do believe it's down there, but it did poke up a little bit on us here. So we're going to go ahead and reset that one back down. Alright, that feels really good. So it looks like we have one more over here and a real small one over here, but it doesn't. These ones don't poke through the inside, which is great. This one over here, look how small this one is right here. Something like this. Yeah, you can just get away with just lightly hitting this here in. All right, this needs to be below the surface, so just a little bit. Now, the reason why we need to make sure that we're really good and clear in here too is what we're going to do here in a minute is we're going to wind up cutting out the video. We're going to cut the rest of this stuff out and we'll cut back in. But if anything in here is kind of poking that mirror up a little bit, is glass pretty brittle? very brittle, okay? It's
flexible.
It just a little bit though. But what'll happen is if we have a little spot right here poking up through, when we go to put it back in, it creates a little crack point for it. So we want to have the best opportunity to make sure that this bad boy is good and clean before we put it in. So we're going to cut out of this. We're going to fix a few of these little nail pops and cut back in shortly. Alrighty, so you got the nails all set down, right? Pretty nice. Now, the only other thing that we're going to do here real quick is we're going to take this block sander and I'm going to have you carefully clean up areas in here. Stuff that we're looking to get off right now might be just a little bit of glue that might be like a drip, a little bit of extra wood that comes out of the screws when you put them in. You're just going to spend about 2 minutes or so and you're going to sand this down real nice and then we'll grab a piece of glass and see how it fits in when we cut into the video next. Alright, so Jason, you sanded this out. It feels pretty smooth. Kind of like the way it feels. Remember, we want to have the best chance of not cracking our mirror. Alright, why don't you go ahead and pass me that mirror. We just definitely want to be careful just in case the sides are sharp. And on this particular mirror, it looks like when I ordered these, I had them bevel the edges a little bit. And it should fit in here a little bit loose. So it should have a little bit of wiggle room. The plans call for 1/8 of an inch less all the way around. Okay? And pretty good. So we're going to kind of center this in here. And the plans also call for a piece of paper here on the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this right here, that one's a roll of paper that I have. Hold that right there for me. And we'll cut it a little bit long. Excuse me. Cut it a little bit long. Like so. And then we'll trim her up here now. Nice clean edge. That happens. Take this, go that way. Alright, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go like this. Alright, you hold that right there. Hold that right down there. I'm going to take my fingers out of the way. Alright. And this paper is going to help protect the reflective coating on the back of the mirror, because the mirror is just straight glass and then there's some sort of a reflective coating that they put on the back of it. What it exactly is, I don't really know. I really looked into it. I called a glass company and tell them what we need. Alright, so we'll put this on and we'll put this out of our way. And then we'll grab our back piece here. Set it in and down and over. Right. And then I'll give you a screw here. And what we're going to do is we're going to locate where that one goes. It should automatically find its little center. All right, we're going to go nice and carefully in. Just needs to be barely below the surface. Now, what we don't want to do is we don't want to run the risk of cracking a mirror. Every once in a great while it does happen. Yours, I don't think it's going to happen because it's pretty darn clean. It's usually for a discrepancy. Remember, we just need a fairly deep flush and that's going to be it. We got a bunch of screws to put in here. What we're going to do is, in a minute here, we're going to cut out of the video. We're going to put in the rest of the screws. Once we get them all in, we'll take a real quick sneak peek. We'll see what it looks like in the video. We're going to hope that it's not cracked. So we'll cut out and cut back in here. All right, so you finally got all your screws in. If we wanted to, we could do a little bit of touching up with the little bit of paper that we have down here. Probably never see it. Now, we do know that we are going to have to put some hangers on the back of this to hang it on the wall. Right here, right? I think we actually normally go into the plywood. We might actually take these screws out for a different screw. And we'll look at it, to be honest with you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a sneak peek. I'll pick it up and I'll show it to you in the camera. We're hoping that it's not cracked. You know, here we go. How's it look? Woo. No cracks?
Good, yeah.
Let's take a look. Oh man, that is a beauty right there, huh? Yes, sir. It'd be worth a pretty penny. So what we'll do is we will have to go ahead and clean this up with some Windex or whatever. But
It's not a crack, but it's a scratch.
yeah. I don't even know if it's a scratch. It's a piece of rough. I can feel it with my finger right there. So we'll clean this up. It looks pretty good. So next video that we do, we'll go over how to mount up the stuff on the back. You get in great shape. Go ahead and hold that there, buddy.